So it's Yud, it was Yud almost over already, right? Yud Elul Tafshin Ayin Tet, and we are studying Sefer Shmuel, first, Sefer Shmuel Aleph, and we are in chapter 13, verse 5. And, right? Keep going back? No. 13, 5. We didn't go back at all.
76.
Yeah, I got it.
Hi. So the situation is as follows. Shmuel ended his term as a shofet, and he's now just operating as a prophet. Saul wanted to regroup after he was inaugurated officially, and after Shmuel was gave his farewell, and told them all that they shouldn't have insisted on having a king now. So he wanted to regroup and try to build his government and his the whole apparatus for governing in the kingdom. But very quickly, something happened. And what happened is that his oldest son, Jonathan, killed the governor of the Philistines. The governor of the Philistines was there in order to make sure that the Jews don't become stronger, that they don't do things that the Philistines are not happy with. He was stationed very close to the ark, to the Holy Ark, where that was the center of Jewish government. And we will see later what they were trying to impose. They were imposing a whole bunch of restrictions, and they were collecting taxes. They were oppressing the Jewish people in the land of Israel. So Jonathan, being the son of the king, and having a platoon of 1,000 men behind him, just fed up at one point very quickly, and just killed that governor. And so the
swords,
with something that kills. He did have a sword. Jonathan and Shaul did the only two that had a sword, but whatever, publicly. But he managed to kill him.
Why were they the only ones who had swords?
We'll see. We'll talk about it.
Background checks. Very
So right, they needed the background check, exactly. 7 days and all of that. Yeah. So,
I wish.
But they had
So-
the Second Amendment.
they had the Second Amendment, exactly. So now the Philistines are very upset, and they're going to retaliate. But Saul is standing firm behind his son Jonathan, and announcing to everybody with using the best mean possible at the time, which was the shofar, and all over to hear that what's going on, and come help fight the war. Now that was in and of itself was a very shocking situation, because in the past 400 years the system was that one of the surrounding nations would oppress us, and there will be a judge coming up and stepping up to the plate and leading the Jews in one way or another to win the war against the oppressor. And then there will be quiet for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. It was nice. At one point it was 80 years. It was very, very... and the system worked. Why was it quiet after the war? Because each one of those wars were fantastic wins. The victories were so amazing that everybody around would be scared to death, and they stayed quiet and stayed put for many years. Now that's what happened recently. There was a fantastic win over the Ammonites. Right? He just went in, and overnight, in the middle of the night, he killed them all, and to a point where there were no two soldiers running together. They were all ran like cockroaches individually, not in groups. And a week later or so, not much time later, the Philistines are raising their, are starting with us. Not as if nothing happened, there was no impression left of the victory. So that was very, very strange. It's like, what else do we need to do? Like
Strike fear
to
in
strike.
their hearts.
Yeah, I mean my grandmother used to always say, "No, an atomic bomb." You need an atomic bomb to put to make them fearful. They didn't have that then. So all of the Jews that heard the shofar blowing and how Shaul ended up, or Shaul's men, Shaul's son, ended up killing the governor of the Philistines, they were screaming and very, very fearful, and they ran with Shaul. They gathered with Shaul in the Gilgal. And the Philistines, now, where was Shaul's headquarters? Shaul's headquarters was in this handout that I gave you here. Shaul's headquarters is right here, smack in the middle in Michmas. Okay? It's in the center of Israel, very close to Bethel, between Bethel and Jerusalem. And so he ran from all the way to the right-hand side, the rightmost dot. It's Hagilgal, right? That's where they gathered, leaving the Michmas, leaving his capital city. It wasn't a city, it was a small village, but leaving that area open. And the Philistines came right in to fill in the vacuum. ופלישתים נאספו להילחם עם ישראל, and how many of them? After we killed their governor, they wouldn't sit quietly, and they brought all the heavy guns. 30,000 rechev, they got 30,000 tanks, chariots, whatever the tank of the day was. ו6,000 parashim, and horse riders, cavalry, right? Cavalry, right? And 6,000 of those. And behind them, they had a lot of foot soldiers. ועם ככל אשר על שפת הים, the people, some of them were not even soldiers, came to take whatever, to scorch the land, whatever the army is going to gain on any place, any town, the people will come behind and will empty it out and take everything. ויעלו ויחנו במכמש קדמת בית אבן. And because Michmas was a small town, they couldn't all fit there. 30,000 chariots and 6,000 horses and their men and whatever else they needed over there. So they couldn't all fit in Michmas. So they took the area between Michmas and Bet Aven, which is here, right above, within the square. Now, what happened next is a fantastic situation. Okay, very, very unique. If we compare this war to the war that happened 300 years earlier with Gideon, where a bunch of nations, Amalek and Bnei Kedem and Midian, they all came to fight against us, and God elected Gideon to lead the Jews, and he called the people, and everybody came to gather behind him to fight. And God told them, listen, I don't want all of these people to fight. It's too many troops, because I'm intending to make you win the war, and then they all think that it's because of them. It needs to be clear that it's a miracle. It cannot be that. So send people home. So he sent everybody except 22,000 people, Gideon. And then further selection occurred when he told them, take those 22,000 and run them through a test of how they're going to drink. They take them to a pond and see how they drink. Those who bow, simulating bowing down and drinking from the pond directly, you send home. And those who would not bow and lift the water with their hands, you keep them. Out of the 22,300 passed the test. Now that's a good number. 300 elite troops, and they will defeat. And even though the elite troops, they cannot defeat. They killed it at 120,000, some crazy number. They were able to defeat a lot of people with a handful of guys, and then it was evident that God made a miracle. Now, because the whole problem, the whole situation here is problematic because we elected a king because we wanted to be like the other nations. And with the other nations, when the king wins a war, they get their, the Medal of Honor. They get the recognition that they won the war. And so here there was also very much a need to have to see to it that not have the whole nation is going to fight. Because if God is about to help us with a miracle against the Philistines, but we have 500,000 people doing that, okay, 500,000 people, so they had chariots, we had more men, whatever, it makes sense. So they needed to be some selection here, some very to get rid of the people who are not worthy of participating in it, people who will not claim the fame, the victory. So, but here it wasn't a direct instruction from heaven to the leader of how to perform this selection. Here it was naturally occurring. What happens is that all of the Jews at the time were scared to death. So ve'ish Yisrael ra'u kitzar lo. So the Jews realized that there is a big contingency of the Philistines with all of their weapons right here in the center of the country. Kinigasham, that all of the Philistines, not only the 36,000 troops, but they had all of the people, all of the layman Philistines also came with whatever they can muster to behind the troops, behind the professionals. So what happened to the Jews? So they went and they ran away to hide in the caves and ubachavachim. Excuse me, those are not caves, but those are very narrow areas, like wadis and very between rocks. Ubaslaim, and amongst the rocks, ubatzrichim, ubaborot, and also in man-made shelters. So they would dig, or they had it dug from before, shelters, and they covered it with branches, and they would hide it there, and just I don't want to be found. Terrible situation. Can you imagine? In the center of the country, we're running away like mice to find a hole. Not only we scattered, all the scared people were scattered around the center of the country. Ivrim, there were some lower people who are not don't have much self-respect. Ivrim is the word that we use for a slave, Eved Ivri, right? A Jewish slave, it's called Eved Ivri. It's not called Eved Israel. The word Israel is representing an honorable name to a Jewish person. The word Ivri is representing a less honorable, or like the lowest level type. So those people, they ran away to another country. They went to Jordan, Eretz Gad veGilad. So they went over to the other side. They just scattered away. It's like, wow. It was very, very scary. So Shaul was remaining in the Gilgal. Now, a lot of the people, if you look at the map, the Gilgal is a hop, skip, and a jump from the Jordan River. So those who couldn't find a cave in the area where the Philistines were ran to the Gilgal. But instead of staying with Shaul himself, they crossed over, they continued, the Shvung. They continued all the way to the other side, and they stayed over there. Now, what happened is, when you have the law is, we actually read it this Shabbos at the end of Parashat Shoftim, the halachot of war. And what is the halachot of war? Is that there are few people that have exemptions, that get exemptions when there is everybody is obligated to participate to be drafted to the army. It's a mandatory draft. And you have several people who get exemptions, somebody who just got married, or they just built a house, etc. Or someone who has sins and they're afraid that this is a good time for God to take action and basically they're not going to survive the war because of their sins. So after those people leave, what the leader has to put around the troops cops, the army police, with guns or whatever they had over there, and shoot anybody who wants to fire to run away. They were allowed to hurt. They had weapons. They had how do you say alot? Whips, sticks. Like the cops have sticks. And what do you call them?
Nightsticks.
Knights. So, and they would hurt people. They would hurt people with that, in order to make them fight, because you're not allowed to run away. And here, he had 2,000 people with him, Shaul, right? His son is 1,000, so he was not right next to them. But the 2,000 that were around him, they also ran away. We see later that all that's left is 600 people from the entire Jewish nation. 600 people were left behind him. Shameful. And he did not stop them. He did not demonstrate, the strength, the leadership of a king.
So what was the 300 that you talked about before?
That was at the time of Gideon.
Oh, okay.
It's just comparing.
Comparable.
Anyway, so if we recall what was the conditions when he became a king, Shmuel, who anointed him as a king, gave him certain parameters. And he gave him two parameters. One of them, the second one, was that for the war with the Ammonites, you do whatever you think is right. And he took action and he won the war. And he went in the middle of the night, he did what's right. But he was told by the prophet, you do what you think is right. That was the instruction. Shmuel also gave him another instruction, that at the time of need, at the time of war, when you need to ask me something, you have to go to the Gilgal and wait there for 7 days. And don't do anything. Just wait for me, and I will come. And so he went. That's what he did.
Where does it say that he told him to do that?
Not here. 2 chapters back. ויאכל 7 ימים למועד אשר שמואל. So he was waiting for 7 days, just like Shmuel told him. But Shmuel knew that this whole situation with the king is not really the right setup for the Jews at that time. So he didn't show up, because he knew everything that Shmuel did was with the direct instruction of God. And he knew that God didn't tell him to go yet, because it's not time. It's not time to use strength, to use power, because we're going to lose. So he was just hanging around, and he didn't come. And he used the time to pray, because that's what Shmuel is good at, as we learned the previous chapter. So Shmuel was praying, but Shaul doesn't see it, and he was not interacting with Shaul. And on top of this, there was also the on top of it, there was also the test that God was about to put Shaul through. He was about to put him through a very, very difficult test, which Shaul ended up not passing, and as a result losing his right to be a king. So Shmuel it was all conducted from above, so Shmuel didn't show up. Now, he didn't show up in the morning. And typically in Jewish law, there is a rule that miktzat hayom kechulo, that when you're counting days, part of the day is considered the whole day. For example, lo aleinu, when people sit shiva, right? They sit for an hour and finish, a few minutes. So as long as he waited 6 days, and then on the 7th day in the morning, Shmuel is not here. The people that the few that were remaining around him also saw that he's not doing anything, and the Philistines are not far, and they're amassing strength. And later on, you will see that they were not only were sitting there, the Philistines, they started in their distraction path. If you look in the small, we will see it later, but in the small frame here, in the insert, they had three, they split to three, and each one of the platoons, of the three platoons, went in different direction to basically destroy, to scorch the earth. And so the people saw that Shaul is standing there and undecided. So they left. They said, you know what, King Shming, goodbye. I'm not going to sit here to. Vayomer Shaul. So when Shaul figured out that there is a problem here, now he's not going to have any troops. He's not going to have any people around him, and the Philistines are there, and they're starting to destroy the country. It's pikuach nefesh. So he felt that he is obligated, and he will say that to Shmuel, that he is obligated to take action. So he did what Shmuel told him that he will have to do when Shmuel comes after 7 days, which is sacrifice to God. So he took the sacrifice that he prepared, the lamb, and so he made, there was in the Gilgal, there was an altar, and in the Gilgal at that time, you didn't need to be a Kohen or a Levi, because it was a state where anybody can do it and can prepare an altar in the backyard. So he was able to do it, and he sacrificed the lamb to God. Sounds like he didn't do anything so difficult.
Show of hands. How many
Yes.
people think he did?
All right.
Right thing.
What? It was a whole setup. As soon as he finished sacrificing that olah, that sacrifice that goes holy to God, Shmuel ba. So Shmuel walks in. Very, very, obvious. Shmuel is here. So Shaul, who had all the respect to Shmuel and did not do it out of disrespect in any way, shape, or form, he was trying to do the right thing at the right time, and so he went to greet him, and to greet him, to say hello and to bless him.
I think he even showed initiative.
What?
I think he showed initiative.
For the first time, he showed initiative, except that he was wrong. So what does Shmuel do? Shmuel, what?
Yeah, go back a few lines.
Yeah.
Talked about, they went up and camped in Michmas, east of Evan. And on the map, Michmas is mostly south.
Okay, but it's also a little east.
A little bit east.
All right.
Southeast.
Southeast. It's so.
Rotate the map like that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, there you go. It's just going to be like this. So, Michmas.
That is on the top of the
On the
right.
top left. It's
Sometimes
Michmas.
it
It's not
says
Michmash. Yeah, it's sometimes
Not on
Michmash,
mine.
sometimes
It says
Michmas.
Michmas.
Michmash,
Mine
Michmas.
At the end of Yud Bet,
Depends
at
if
the end of
the-
Yud Aleph, the word is Michmas.
Right, and then Michmas,
Then
right.
hey.
Yeah, I see.
And here is Michmash, yeah. Anyway, the point is that Shmuel, as soon as he meets Shaul, shows total disrespect towards Saul and for what he did. And he asks very simply, very similar to what God did when Adam ate the apple, right? What you do? What you do? Ma'asita. Ma'asita. He was giving him, he was giving enough rope, so to speak. Ma'asita. Vayomer Shaul, ki raiti ki nafat העם אליי. So he was starting to say, listen, I saw that the people would scatter away from me.
You didn't show up.
ואתה לא באת למועד הימים, and you didn't show up when you said you're going to show up, because he waited till the morning. And the morning, I think that's when the Shmuel told him, it was the inauguration at the time, was in the morning, and he told him, you'll have to wait till the morning. So he thought that you have to wait 7 days. So he took that time as the right time, even though he wasn't. Uplishtim nesafim michmash, and michmas, and the Philistines are gathering on top of us. Va'omar ata yirdu plishtim elai Gilgal, and he said, listen, it's not, I was afraid, ufnei Hashem lo chiliti. And he thought that he's honoring God, and in honoring the people of God, and the Philistines are going to come to me, going to approach me at the Gilgal, and, I didn't know what to do. Vayetapak, and I waited and waited and waited. And then I couldn't wait any longer. Va'aleh ha'olah. So, here we go. He was telling him that he was a pious man. He was the best person for the job at the time, and he just he figured that this is what he needed to do. That he is the king, and he needed to take. Vayomer Shmuel el Shaul, and this is so Shmuel answered him, and it's a very, very terrible way of it's basically telling him, Niskalta, are you stupid? Are you silly? Niskalta, it's coming from the Lashon ksil. Ksil is silly, stupid, fool. What? Lo shamarta et mitzvat Hashem Elokecha. You didn't guard the commandment of God, asher tzivcha, that God told you to listen to the prophet. That's what the king needs to do. A king is not an independent agent. It's not like all of the other countries that the king can do whatever they want. They have to listen. A Jewish king has to listen to the prophet. Ki ata achin Hashem et mamlechtecha al Yisrael ad olam. Because until now, God had in mind to give you the kingdom, to give you to be the ruler of the Jewish people. Now, this is a problematic statement, but very interesting, because it's not problematic, but it's actually clarifying. We have a situation at the time of Jacob. Jacob was giving the blessing to each one of his sons before he passed away. What did he say to Yehuda? Lo yasur shevet mi Yehuda umechokekim ben raglav, that Yehuda is going to be the leader of the Jewish people, Judah, and he is going to be the lo yasur forever, right? But then he also said to Benjamin, umelachim michalatzecha yetzeu, that the king will come from you. Kings will come from you. He said to Benjamin. So which one is it? Is it Judah or Benjamin? So first of all, there are those who say, which I didn't like so much, that eventually there was the two kingdoms, the kingdom of Israel, the kingdom of Judah, and had Saul withstanding the test, withstood the test, then he would have been the king of Israel forever, and Judah will be the king of just Judah. I didn't like that, because the point is that split in and of itself was wrong. So I saw just before I came here, I saw someone who's the Dat Sofrim mentioning it in a very, very interesting way. He says, listen, from the time of Jacob, it was promised to two people, to Judah and Benjamin. So which one it would be? It would depend on the people. They both had the potential. And promises aside, the main thing is what the person does on the spot. And you can change history. And you can be you, or it can be you, it can be anybody who is worthy, who was given the opportunity and took the opportunity all the way. So potentially the blessing of Jacob would not have become true had Saul done the right thing, and he would be the one forever. But he didn't. And we see that even Judah, we had the king David, and then we had King Saul. That's 40 years and 40 years, and then no more. Then Judah was not the that's
Saul, you meant Shlomo.
Shlomo, and that's when the kingdom of the Jews split to two. So Judah was also, until this very day, didn't have the opportunity to be the king of all of us. Yes, he had a lot of rabbis and a lot of leaders throughout the years that were prominent, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and so on, many rabbis from Judah, but he was never the after King Solomon, he was never operating. Nobody from Judah was operating as the sole king of all the Jews everywhere in a strong way until Mashiach comes. So we see that it could have been you, it could have been someone else. And now, David was also tested with the exact same test. And he withstood the pressure of the people and the situation. As soon as David became official king, there was a war in Emek Rephaim, which it's a very popular, row of restaurants in Israel nowadays. The best. So he was standing on one side, and on the other side were the Philistines, the same Philistines that were not defeated yet, right? They could have been defeated had Saul done the right thing. The Philistines probably would have been defeated right there and then, and that's it. It would be Saul's kingdom forever, and the Philistines are gone, and it will be, the history would change. But that it didn't happen. So the Philistines kept at it throughout the next few years until the beginning of the kingdom of David, and then David took care of them and destroyed them totally. But what happened was David was told not to respond, not to start the war with the Philistines until he hears the top of the bushes right around him move. Can you imagine? You see the people right there, and you can get to them when they're still far. No, you have to wait till you see, till the bushes right around you move. And his soldiers were badgering him, come on, launch an attack, a preemptive attack. Well, what are you doing? And he said, no, God told me not to. Through the prophet, I'm just not gonna do it. And as soon as they came close enough, and the leaves on the top of the bushes were moving, then he launched the attack and won the war. And it's like there is a whole section in Medrash that tells us the story. In the writing is about a sentence and a half. But he basically had the same situation as King Saul had. King Saul just missed it by a moment, because as soon as he finished the sacrifice, Shmuel rolled in, and David took the
Sounds like Shakespeare borrowed that in Macbeth. right?
Absolutely.
So
It's
burning wood
all
moves
it's
to
all to be stolen material at one point of his.
Fire till you see the whites of their
So
eyes.
where did it all start from? Just
What?
because Jonathan killed the governor?
Okay, now
That seems to be the one
now
thing.
right now here's the analysis that I read here. It's exactly.
Yeah.
The problem here is that Shaul was the best person for the job, but he had one thing that was very difficult in his personality. He was an independent guy. He was independent before he became a king. He wasn't looking to be a king. And he kept being independent. And he showed it again and again and again. And even in his DNA, the kids, Jonathan, also demonstrated the same thing. Oh, he didn't wait to ask, should he kill the governor of the Philistines. The guy was saying something and poof, he's gone. And we will see again and again that Jonathan is the one really to carry. He did again something reckless soon. And another one soon. He did several of those just to show us that this was the problem. The problem is that you cannot be, when you're given the office of being the king of the Jews, you cannot be independent anymore. You cannot have your strong personality overcoming the basic rules of the office. And the rules of the office is that you have to listen to the prophet, you have to ask God. And this is the tragedy of Saul right here, because Va'ata, and now Shmuel is telling Saul, and your kingdom lo takum, is not going to be lasting, everlasting. Bikesh Hashem lo ish kilvavo. God was looking for a man after his own heart, a man that he can like, and you were it. But not anymore. ויצווהו Hashem לנגיד אל עמו, כי לא שמרת את אשר ציווך Hashem. So from now on, you're not going to be the king, you're just going to be the keeper. And we will see later on that here Shmuel was just taking away the kingdom from the children, from the next generation. But Shmuel could have been king for, Shaul could have been king for 40 years, 50. I mean, he didn't lose that yet. That happens at the war of Amalek, when he's telling him, now you're not going to last. Now, you're reading all of these wars that I've said, it was 5 wars in total. You think that it took a lot of time. It's only 2 years. It's a lot of events, one after the other. You no respite. And so now he's telling him, you're not going to be, your generations, your children are not going to take after you, and your kingdom is not going to last for generations. Then Vayakam Shmuel Vayal Mina Gilgal Givat Binyamin. Then Shmuel continues. He continues to go with Saul. Givat Binyamin is one of the areas where Saul was operating on and where he was from. So Saul wanted Shmuel with him. After all of that, after the rebuke and after the mess up, he wanted to fix it. He just wanted to fix it. So he requested that Shmuel will come with him. And then he's counting. Now that Shmuel came, I don't believe that the people were privy to this discussion. That was a private conversation between Saul and Shmuel. But they saw Shmuel and they realized, okay, now we have somebody to rely on, because Shmuel, if you recall, when Shmuel started 10 years ago, 11 years ago, he started with a war against the Philistines. And what happened during the war against the Philistines? The Philistines took the ark. And through that strong battle, what happened? Comes Saul and fights himself, again as an independent guy, and took the tablets out of the ark and took it back. So again, Saul demonstrated amazing strength, amazing independence. I'm not going to take anything. I'm not going to take it lying down. I'm going to do what I think is right. So at that point, he was praised. now he was told, that that it was not a smart thing to do. Terrible.
I think he's getting a bum rap.
What?
I think he's getting a bum rap. I mean,
He-
David's test was specific.
His was too. Wait till I come. Wait.
Did he say wait till I come or wait till the seventh day?
7 days till I come. Wait 7 days till I come. That was the specific instruction. And he waited 7 days, or a little less than 7 days, but he didn't wait till Shmuel came.
And he
And-
specifically said, don't make the korban
And
till
he
I come.
specifically told him, don't sacrifice. He didn't tell him, don't go fight. He told him, don't sacrifice
Till I come.
until I come. So he didn't listen. It was very, very specific. And was very, apparently, it's to show us when someone takes an office of that magnitude, it can be the best person in the world. But then things happen. And you can't control everything. ושאול ויונתן בנו והעם הנמצא עמם יושבים בגבע בנימין ופלישתים חנו במכמס. So now, after this terrible news that he got, he was still the king and he had still the responsibility to save the Jews, to fight, to lead the war against the Philistines. So he united with Yonatan, his son, right? And he was sitting in Geva Binyamin, and the Philistines, and if you look at Geva Binyamin, where is Geva Binyamin here? Where is Geva Binyamin?
I couldn't find it.
I think it's Geva, where it says Geva. It doesn't say Binyamin. I think it's Geva. Yeah. So, just very close. I think there is a stream of some sort in between. Now, it's the Michmas War, the Michmas stream. It's called Michmas stream. So in between, Nachal Michmash. So he was on one side with the 600 men, and the 36,000 Philistines on the other side. And then they were standing there watching what happened. The Philistines. So until now, for 7 days, they were together in one place. I mentioned before that they split. I was wrong. They're splitting right now. The Philistines were there in one location, and it was very, very. He was tempted to go whack them while they're together when he can catch them at in the camp. Now the situation became more complicated. They split to 3 heads, and they had special units. I don't know what to call those units, but they called them the mashchit. Mashchit was the destroyer. They're scorching the place. They're destroying everything in their way, killing and hurting and destroying everything. And he was split. That unit, that it's almost sounding like the SS, that they split to 3 heads. One platoon went to Derech Ofra, which is going up, I thought, right? Ofra, yeah. So it was going up, going north. No, Derech Ofra Eretz Shual. I'm sorry, no. One of them is going to Eretz Shual. Yeah, it is. It's north. Yeah, north. Now, what is Eretz Shual? Eretz Shual is a place of foxes, right? Now, where foxes usually roam? Where people are not. Now, why did they send their platoons to those areas that are desolate, that they could have gone down to places where Jews lived? They chose not to because they really were afraid. In the heart of hearts, they were afraid. And they didn't want the war. They wanted to show their stance, and they're not going to take the fact that the governor was killed. They're not going to take it lying down. But they didn't really want to start a big war. And so they sent one north to where the land of the foxes. And one of them went to Bet Horon towards the west. And the other one would go. So Bet Horon is more of a place that Bet Horon itself is a place that had people, but the way to it was desolate. And then the third one was going to where the hyenas.
Hyena.
Hyena, right. So again, a place to the desert. Again, a place where people are not do not live. And those so now we have, and he's standing on the other side. He's standing south of them, right? So they went north, east, and west, and he was standing south of them and watching all of that, and basically helpless. And we'll see next time that they didn't even have weapons. The Philistines made sure not allow the Jews to have weapons. And he was, the entire 600 people, the entire Jewish army had 2 swords. We'll see it next time.